Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Mark, a trainer here at WEX Field Service Management, and today we're covering job management and best practices. This webinar will cover what a job is in WEX FSM, a job page overview, appointment status and visuals, multi-appointment jobs like for callbacks. We'll learn how to use the flag for follow-up feature, look at some job reporting to manage your jobs in bulk, with a live Q&A at the end where you'll be able to get your questions answered live on stream. And without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into WEX FSM. Now, our main focus today is job management and best practices to run jobs in your system. Now, when you first log in, you will be on the schedule page. That's like your home page for WEX FSM. And, the question is, what is a job? Like, what is a job in your system? And I think one of the best ways to look at that is by going to a customer page where all jobs are saved in a timeline. To do this, we're going to search for our customer, Mary Smith. If they are part of your customer list, you will see them show up here. If they're not part of your customer list and you need to add a new customer, you can just hit the red plus button here, fill out the information, and press save. And then that will allow you to add a new customer. However, if this customer does not have an email, then you will see it won't let you add them. So right here, email is has that red asterisk next to it. You can bypass this. So this is just a pro tip. If you select opt out of marketing email and opt out of email notifications, now I can add a new customer without needing an email, and you can always go back and add the email for them later. But just know, I'm talking to the customer. Oh, you don't have an email? No problem. Now it's not letting you add them. So that is something just to have knowledge of in case you run into that. Okay. But Mary is part of our customer list. So we'll go to Mary Smith's customer page. So, what is a job in your system? When you go to a customer page, you will see jobs on the right, and each job folder, I like to think of these as digital file folders. Everything relating to each of these jobs will show up here in these gray rectangles. So this is job 13840 for a maintenance plan. And this is job 13775, which is a furnace install. If I want to see what's inside of these jobs, I can click the little red drop-down arrow here, and it will show me anything that's inside that job. So this one has an appointment. If I hit this, this one has an appointment and an initial call note. This one has an invoice, appointment, job note, lots of proposals. So there's a lot of stuff in this job, tons of notes. So that's one way that you can view a job. So jobs are like digital file folders that hold all of the documentation and attachments, notes, everything relating to that job will be saved in that job folder. And your timeline of jobs will show up on the customer page. So each of these are individual and separate jobs. Now, if I want to create a new job and add it to my timeline, from the customer page where it says quick actions, it's all the way to the right. It's the very last quick action. And this is the quickest, fastest way to create a job. Click on create new job. You can determine the job type, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. Enter the job name. And you can create a job only if you select this option here, create new job only without a proposal or invoice. That just means I'm creating an empty job and then I will go in and add appointments, add attachments, create notes, make proposals, make invoices afterwards. Or you can get started and it will create the job with a proposal or create the job with an invoice. A scenario here, you're talking to your customer, you did a quick, little job, you did a little task for them, you're going to charge them for it, and you just want to come in and quickly create an invoice. You're not trying to make an appointment. This would be the fastest way. I did something small for Mary, I'm going to charge her $10. Let me come in here and make a job with an invoice, and then you can fill out that invoice, send it to the customer. Once a job is created from here and you come back to the customer page, you will see that job from here. And job numbers are automatically populated when you create a new job. That's just determined by your system, and each job will just go up one number. Now, we are going to take a look at an actual job. Let's dive into a job to see the elements that are inside there. You can search for jobs from here. So we're going to look for our job 11918. That will pull up in your timeline. And to enter into this job, we're just going to click on the red job number. And now we are in the job. So when I was referencing the job folder, the digital file folder, this is kind of like peeking into that folder. So now we can see the job information at the top. The job number you are not able to edit, but you can edit the job name. So if I hit edit here with the little edit pencil, I can change this to whatever I want. And the job name, it's optional. You don't have to have it, but it comes in very handy when you're looking at a list of jobs you've done over time. And you see, this one was maintenance, this one was install. And the way you know what that was is because you're reading what you named the job. So highly recommend naming your jobs. We have a little job tracker at the top here. So this will let you know when an appointment is completed. Your proposal has been created and sent to the customer. You ordered parts. Invoice has been created. Payment has been made. So as you go through the different phases of each job, it just lets you know the progress. Job summary, there's a ton of stuff here. And as we go through this, we are going to pop out to different places that you can update personal settings for these. So job status, is this job open, closed, or abandoned? Job type is great for reporting. This is essentially a way for you to tag your jobs. Now, let's say I'm doing a repair. I can come in and tag this as a repair. Or maybe this is an install. So I would come in and tag this as an install. And as you're tagging your jobs with job types over time, now you're categorizing all of them. So when you go to look at your reporting, I can then select, let me see all installs that we did last week. Since I tagged all my installs with the install job type, now those will pull up. So job type, very good for reporting and tagging jobs so you can categorize them. Now, to set up your job types in your system will come with a default set of job types, which works great for some people. Others, they want to get a little more detail. So if you want to update your job types, this list that you see here, you will go to settings, jobs, job types. Put in the different types of jobs that you do, no AC call, no heat calls, even up to a full install, roof replacement, whatever it is, add those as job types here by clicking new job type, enter the name. You can color code the colors that you see on the schedule page for each of these appointments. The color comes from the job type that you select yourself here. And you can also set the default duration. If I know that my, 3 system install is going to take 3 hours, I can set that default to 3 hours. And when I go to schedule this type of job, it'll just auto-populate the default duration. Once you have those set here on this admin page, those will be available anywhere that you can select a job type. Job price. Now, this is going to be the pricing that your invoices and proposals are going to take when adding items from the price book. And so if you see here, standard price is just going to be my normal pricing plus my parts markup. But if this was a maintenance plan customer, it'll switch to the maintenance plan pricing and give them whatever discount I have set. Let's say this person was in the military. I select military discount. Now, when I make my proposals, it's going to give the military discount on those job forms. And the way that this works, the way, like, you do need to make sure you have this set up, these these pricing strategies. You will do this from more applications, price book, pricing defaults. The pricing defaults page has your standard price, which includes your markup, has the maintenance plan price, which will automatically apply for maintenance plan customers. And then you have 3 modifiers that you can either create discounts or upcharges. And just as a scenario here, I made a friends and family and a military discount. And then I made an after hours, which is an actual upcharge of 25%. Setting your pricing strategies here on this page, make sure you hit save at the bottom, will then make them available on the job. And so you can select and it will update your proposals and invoices based on the price book item permissions that you have set. Okay. Next, we have calls and notes, which are going to be any notes that have been added to this job, whether that's from the office or out in the field. Checklists are really great to have either processes. Let's say you have a new technician and you know that they don't know how to do a job completely on brand, how you do it. So you could set out a checklist for them. Equipment is going to be any equipment that has been documented and attached to the address for this job as a historical record. So you can see what equipment is on location whenever you go. Attachments, any attachments that have been added, review requests, user allocation, and profit and loss. I do want to just kind of show this. This is a really important part of jobs. Each job is going to tell you how much money you made on the job, which, in business, your cash flow and how much money you're making is a huge part of it. And it's nice to know. So on this job, we can see the revenue, which came from the customer paying for the invoice. This is kind of the total amount that the customer paid, which is your revenue coming in for the job. And we are subtracting the product costs, which is how much you pay for the, parts and service that you are offering. And then any additional expenses, which then gives you your profit. And this number here is the profit for this individual job, but we do have job profit reports that will show you your filtered totals and your balances for, or sorry, how much money you've made, your profit and loss for all your jobs in your system. In order for that number to be correct, you do need to make sure your product costs are set up correctly and your labor costs are set up correctly. So to do this, for product costs, let's go to more applications, price book, my price book. And we are looking for the product cost because that is going to factor in as our product cost in the profit and loss equation here. And so each product in your price book that you create, I'm just opening up a general part here. Each price book product has a cost field. And this is asking how much does it cost you to purchase this item that you are then going to mark up and sell to your customer for a higher price, which would be the standard price here. If this is empty, then it will not be able to factor in costs and your profit and loss will be missing this piece of the puzzle. So as you're building your price book items, I highly recommend coming in and putting the cost per item. Let's go back. So that's where to update your product costs. Next is your labor costs. So I've got a field technician. He's going to go out, he's going to clock in for the job, clock out for the job, and that will then factor in how much money we paid the technician in the field. And that goes in as a labor cost. In order for this to be correct, we need to go to settings, user management, users. Each user will allow you to input a labor cost. Maybe you're not putting in labor cost for your office crew because they're not going to be clocking in and out of jobs. But for Dustin Bailey here, my field technician, I definitely want to make sure my labor cost is in for him because he will go out, clock time on jobs, and then that will take his labor cost per hour, which is set right here, and factor that into the job profit and loss. And this is just asking how much does it cost you to pay this user for 1 hour of service. Once you have that, we can see here is Dustin Bailey, and we can see how much his cost is here. And that will then get factored in. And this is multiplied if you have multiple technicians. So your system does a lot of the work for you in factoring these totals. You just have to make sure your product cost is set, your labor cost is set. Okay. Before moving on, let's talk about opportunity. So each job that you have the ability to toggle on the opportunity. And this just means that your system will consider this job as an opportunity to either win the job or the customer declines and you lose the job. And as you're doing this, I would just recommend if you know you're going to create a proposal, an estimate for this job for your customer to either say yes or no before you begin, think of that as an opportunity. And that is when you would turn this on. Then, when you go to your proposals report, you can see your close rate and see, am I winning a lot of jobs or am I losing a lot of jobs? And now maybe you want to just go back to the drawing board and make different decisions on how you're operating. But this is where you can track that by turning that on. It sets this as an opportunity in your system. If you win the job, it's marked as yes, you won, and adds to your close rate. Okay. Next is and let's actually hide that. Next is the belled note. So, we're talking about best practices. If you are running a ton of jobs, you may get annoyed. Let's say I'm an office person and I'm the one who's typing up the notes so my technicians in the field know what to do when they get out there. And I type the same thing for Mary here every time. Here's the gate code. Mary has 2 cats. If you need to go inside, don't let the cats out. If this is some information that's unchanging, you want your field technicians to see in the field, and perhaps you just get tired of typing it every single time when you do an appointment. That's what the belled note is great for. Uh, you can create notes from the customer page. So let's take a look at that. We're just going to go back to Mary Smith's customer page. And if you notice here at the top of the timeline, there's a customer note. So let's talk about notes for a second on the account. So if I want to create a note, just jot down some notes. I can go to the quick actions and I can leave a note about the customer. And if I don't bell the note and I don't relate it to a location, I just typed it in and hit save. It will save it as a note in the timeline. And as I add jobs, it will get pushed down the timeline. So it's just a note that gets added to the timeline. If I want this to be a belled note, which means it will show up on every single job, I want to go to leave a note about the customer and click the bell. What this will do is it will appear in every job that you make for this customer. Now you can assign a location. So let's say this is a note I want for the 2404 Marshall Place. If I create any job for the Marshall Place location, this note will be included in that job. But if I make one for the main street, it won't be included because I did not tag that location. Once you hit save, that will then save to the top of the timeline. So even as you add new jobs, you'll always have this information at the top of their timeline from the customer page, but also any job that you make for them in the future, you and the office will be able to see this note here. And it comes in very handy, especially if you do like filter changes or something that requires equipment to be brought every time. Great reminders for that. All right. So we're still in our job folder here, and there's 4 more sections to look at. So we have appointments and service requests, proposals and financing, purchase orders, and invoices and payments. Those are the 4 main sections for documents inside of the job. Now, we're going to look at each one. So, appointments and service requests. This will show any appointments that have been created for this job. And we can see there are 3 appointments. We can see when they were scheduled, the actual time that was clocked in by the technicians, the status, are they idle? They haven't started the job yet. En route, at job doing the work, or is the job complete? And then service requests, you can create those as well from here. If you want to create a new appointment, you are able to, so as a disclaimer, you can make new appointments from the schedule page, and that might be the main place that you are creating appointments. But each job does allow you to create appointments as well. You click new to create a new appointment. And now it's the exact same appointment modal that you see on the schedule page. The benefit of doing it here is that it will auto select the job you're in as the job folder here. Just making sure that that new appointment you're creating is being saved in the proper folder. Next is proposals and financing. So any proposals that you've created, you'll see here. You have the ability to favorite proposals, which comes in very handy when you are copying. So the copy feature is a big time saver. If I am building my proposals from scratch every single time, that's going to take time. If I know that I did a job last week that I can just copy over and make a little adjustments and I'm done, that's going to save me a ton of time. When you want to copy another job form, let's say a proposal, I'll hit copy. And if you're doing it efficiently, when you're making the proposal, you would think to yourself, oh, this would be a great template to copy for another job. I know I have another exact job like this in a week, so I'm just going to favorite this now. So when I click copy, now here are all my favorites. So it comes up very easily here. You can uncheck favorites if you want, and that will simply show you every proposal in your system as opposed to just seeing the favorites. And then you will just click on the proposal that you want to copy. It copies over all of that information and creates a new document for your customer, puts in their new customer information, but then all the items, the warranties, financing, anything that you've included in the previous proposal will come over. And again, great time saver. You can quickly convert your proposals to invoices to take payment from here with the Convert to Invoice button. When you click Convert to Invoice, we have some options. You can convert the total proposal amount. So that's 1-to-1. Here's how much we charged. Here's how much they're going to pay today. As a percentage of the total, this would be if you're going to do progress billing. So in this case, let's say that it's a $10,000 job, and we're going to do this in 4 phases of 25% of the total. So they're going to pay $2,500 each time. You would just convert to invoice 4 times with the percentage of 25%. And then when you're charging the customer, they would pay the 2,500 per phase of the job, let's say. And if there's 4 phases, 25% per phase. But that is if you want to do progress billing. And then you have manually by line item. So maybe you want to charge them just for the first 2 items of the proposal today, and then they'll pay for the other 3 later. And then if you want to view a PDF, you click the PDF icon. When you send proposals and invoices to your customers, this is what they will see. It'll look like this. And you can quickly send the proposal to your customer with the little send icon. And after you send it, it will update the sent history, which will tell you the last time it was sent to the customer. Proposal comparisons are great for taking individual proposals and just putting them in a comparison view so your customer can see them. So just know proposal comparisons are very easy. All it's going to do when I click new, it's just a tool that allows me to pull in multiple proposals at one time, but you do have to build the individual proposals first. So, a typical scenario, I want to build a good, better, best proposal for a system install. If you haven't done so yet, you would first need to come in and build each proposal, the good install, the better install, the best install. You build those individually and then use the comparison tool to pull them together to show the customer. Purchase orders, you can order supplies directly from your system. Invoices and payments, you are able to create invoices, new or copy. Same as proposals, view, send, see the sent history. And any payments that you make will show down below in the payments and credits section. Now, another pro tip here, if you want to edit a invoice that is signed, let's say, it won't let you. So it's like, oh, I just need to add some notes to this. I'm not even changing anything. I'm just going to update some notes for historical record. But wait, I can't click into it. So you just need to change it to open draft, and now it will allow you to update. Okay. And so that is the overview, kind of a deep dive into what you will see and what to expect on each job. Next, let's look at appointment status and visuals. So earlier, we looked at the appointment. So let's go to the schedule page first. So let's say I am an office uh, assistant and I'm looking at the schedule page and I just want to know where everybody's at. Where are we in our day? You're going to schedule appointments. You're going to get them on the dispatch board. When I schedule an appointment, it then goes on to the schedule for my field technician. So from the mobile app, Dustin here would see he has a job at 10 a.m. with Eduardo. Now, as my technicians are out in the field doing work, they will be updating each job. And so your system will show you a visual indicator of where people are in their day. If they have not started the job and they are appointment status idle, you will not see any moving lines or dotted lines or anything. It's just the normal colored block. Uh, and then when the technician selects on my way, meaning they're in their vehicle, they're ready to drive out and travel to the job, you will see moving dotted lines indicating your technician is on the way to the job. Then when they get there, they'll open their WEX FSM mobile app and hit at job. That will then stop the moving dotted lines. Now it's just a dotted outline. And that just means that they are there at the job doing the work. When they are complete, they will mark the appointment as complete and you will see it turn gray. So in theory, as this red line kind of represents what current time it is, as that travels across the screen, these should all be turning gray. You get to the end of the day, all appointments are gray, we're good. That means everyone did their appointments, completed their appointments. And just really nice, easy visualization here. So you have a good pulse on what's going on out in the field from the office. Next, let's talk about jobs with multiple appointments. And so you maybe normally you go out, you do the job, you have all the parts you need all the time. Life is good. You're moving on. But maybe there is a job where you don't have the part that you need, or there's some type of follow-up that needs to happen. I recommend using the flagged for follow-up feature. And so when scheduling, let's go into this job here with Emily Davis. So I'm just gonna hover over the appointment and click on the job. And let's say my field technician Caleb goes out, realizes I don't have the part that I need. We're going to have to come back for a second visit. First thing, flag the job and write down what needs to happen. So you can do this from the mobile app. There's a little flag for follow-up button as well. But I'm on the job for Emily Davis. It's a maintenance call. And I'm going to hit flag for follow-up. Follow-up type is up to you. But in this scenario, let's do part order and then, needed part, ordered will be here Friday, whatever the note needs to say. And then hit save. That now has flagged this job. So, you ordered the part, it's coming in on Friday. Moving on, you're doing other jobs. Uh, a way that you can keep track of this, because you may forget that you made a flag for this particular job, in the hustle and bustle of the week. So you can keep track of your flags from the job list. So if I go to jobs, job list, this is just number one. This is a big list of all your jobs in your system. So it is great for searching for jobs quickly. However, the reason why we came here, show flagged jobs only. And that will allow you to see all of your flags. Here's the flag we just created for Emily Davis. Click on the flag and it will allow you to edit, update, view, mark as complete. And so in this scenario, let's say the part comes in. I am looking at this. Oh, part's here. It's Friday. Cool. This is ready to go. Now I need to schedule the second visit for them to go out and complete this. And maybe I'll put, part is here, sending tech out to install Monday and save. And then if we go back to our job here, we have the part. We need Caleb to go out for the second visit. I will just, from the job, click new under appointments and service requests. And now I'm just scheduling. The nice part about doing it from the job page is that it will automatically select the correct job folder. So this is one way you could do it. So we're gonna send them out. Let's say we'll do this on Monday. We're gonna send Caleb again. And you can write notes here if you want, do any other editing that you want, like you normally would, and hit schedule. All right. And so now, let's say, and this is just kind of for training purposes, let's backdate that, say that he completed the first appointment. So now we went out for the first appointment. Here's a pro tip too. Even though we didn't have the part and we knew that the job was not complete, I would still mark your appointment as complete because you did technically complete the visit. You went out and did the visit. You're going to have to come back for another visit, but this visit is complete. So make sure your technicians are marking the appointment as complete, but the job will still be open. I do get questions about that because, like, well, this job is not complete. I don't want to mark that as complete. This is saying the appointment is complete, but the job will be open until you finished everything for the job. All right. And so Caleb is going to go out on Monday, install the part, and then the job will be done. And let's say it's Monday, Caleb goes out, he completes the job, and now he can mark either from the field or you can do this from the office, mark the flag as complete. So, part installed, job finished. Mark as complete and hit save. The flag will then be removed from the job and removed from the job list flag only view. Let's refresh. So there you go. So you can manage flags in bulk from the job list. You could manage them individually on the job itself. Either way, it's just a personal preference on where you would like to update those things. You'll probably do a mixture of both, depending on if you're talking to the customer or not. Okay. And we have one more section to talk about before we get into our Q&A, and that is looking at the job summary report. So we're going to go to reporting. So in the very top left, your main navigation here, we have reporting. So go to the reporting page. And we are looking for the job summary report, which is in the jobs section. And next, job summary. This is going to be well, first, it's a list of all your jobs by creation date in your system. And the job summary is really great for looking at literally a summary of each job. It kind of gives you a pulse on how the job is going and some things to check. Uh, if there's a flag, you can see that there's a flag. You can hover over the flag to see what it is, but you can't click on the flag or edit it. So I do recommend doing your flags from the job list, but at least this is a visual. You can see, oh, hey, there's a flag on this. And if you hover over the flag, it'll tell you what it is. Number of appointments. So if there is an appointment that is scheduled, but it hasn't been completed and it was a week ago, what happened? Was this job actually missed or did the technician forget to clock out? But at least there's a way to even know. So this is a great one to check. If something was scheduled, you want to make sure it was completed. Are there any signed proposals? And were those proposals converted to an invoice? When you're busy and you're doing a ton of estimates for people, it can get hard to know who has a signed proposal, who doesn't. And this is one place you can check that. So if you see that there's a signed proposal but no invoice, that's an issue. Maybe where you're in the middle of doing the job, and so it's fine, or maybe not. But this is just a way that you can check on the overall kind of summary of each job. All right. So that is all the information that we have for today's presentation. I hope that you learned something. We're going to move to our Q&A now, but I just want to say thank you so much for joining. My name is Mark with WEX Field Service Management, and this has been Job Management and Best Practices.